All right. Uh, last week was a rough week for my family and I. We lost our little puppy, Oscar, and he is right here. So I'm dedicating this presentation to our little 14-year-old dog, Oscar. It was unexpected, fast, and just like a shock to all of us. It was an awful week. So I appreciate all of you showing up today, and giving me the week to figure things out. But it was a big loss to our family, and he is just a pet, but he was definitely a close family member. Thank you, Allie. I appreciate it. So that was what happened last week. But we are all together today because we are setting our 2024 marketing goals. And for those of you who don't know me, my name is Desiree Halleck. I am the owner of a marketing agency called Clarence Services. And we are best known for our Webinar Bee service, which is a full service webinar solution for business professionals who would like to present a webinar, but they don't want the headaches with the logistics of setting up a webinar and also the promotions and marketing the webinar. So we provide all of that support, and all you do is show up on the day of your webinar, present to either your prospects or your clients or both. Most of our clients get new clients on every single webinar. And we started doing these webinars for ourselves, and our clients demanded that we provided that service for them. So that's kind of how this all came out. So today we're going to be setting our goals specifically for marketing for 2024. And I'm just going to get started. So if you guys can get a pen and paper, or maybe open up a Google Doc or anything that you can use to write some notes down, that would be great. You can always refine it later because we are limited to 1 hour. But obviously, you can watch the recording to this if we don't give you enough time to jot everything down that's on your mind. And also, you can ask me questions, email me later. The chat is open to all of you. I will be interacting with you, so please be active in the chat and let me know if you have any questions. Feel free to interrupt the presentation and we will move along. So, why do we set goals when we're thinking about growing our businesses? And wealth management professionals, who is our target market, but this really pertains to every business person out there. The most successful businesses and financial firms are the ones who set actionable goals, and they must be paired with measurable key performance indicators. Okay, so that's something that you can measure. Like, for example, it might be a revenue number. So you can measure how much revenue you have, right? You can measure how many clients you have. And then just the simple act of you setting a goal already puts you ahead and in a better position to become more successful. So we must set goals as business owners and as professionals in order for us to grow and scale and become successful. But remember that it's more than just goal setting. It's creating a plan of action in order to reach those goals. And I made this mistake when I was first in business. I would set these goals that sounded amazing. And I'm like, yeah, I could do that. But I never really had a clear plan to get to that goal. I was just hoping for the best. And that was the mistake I made earlier on in my career. And now I realize I really need to set clear goals for my entire team so that we can actually reach our goals. So what you're going to learn today is we are going to do a quick review of 2023 and whether or not you hit your goals, if you missed your goals, and why. And we will then set your goals for 2024. We will also talk about the plan of action in order to reach those goals. And we'll attach key performance indicators so that you can hit those goals as well. So always make sure for every goal that you have a KPI that you can attach to it in order for you to track its success. And then at the end, we'll open it up to Q&A, and hopefully you will get a lot out of this presentation. So our goal for today is that I want to really keep this simple for you guys. This is not going to be a 20-page plan. This should really all fit on one page. So I want you to keep that in mind, to keep these goals simple and keep the plan of action simple. Because sometimes the more we complicate things, the harder it is to reach the goal. And it really obstructs the vision of hitting those goals. So, and a way of doing that is for us to focus on the SMART goals. I'm sure most of you have heard this cliche, SMART goals, where I'll go over each one, but it's being specific, it's being measurable, making sure your goals are achievable and realistic, and that you attach a deadline to your goals. So let's move on. So the S in the SMART stands for specific. So I want each of your goals when we go through this workshop to be specific and clear. Don't complicate things. Keep it simple. You want them to be well defined. So what does it mean? Define the goal? For example, instead of saying work on client retention, which was one of our goals a couple of years ago, say I want a retention rate of, and then whatever that percentage may be, maybe above 95%, for example. So make sure you're attaching that number, be very specific. Or instead of, I want to grow my team in 2024, you want to actually add 3 new, let's say, certified financial planners to your team before 2025. So that is very measurable, right? It's also very specific and clear. The M in SMART stands for measurable. So you want to attach KPIs to each of your goals, key performance indicators, which are really just numbers that you can use to measure the progress and the success of whether or not you achieved your goals. So for an example, 10 new clients in 2024, or reach 100,000 per month in revenue, or you want maybe 20 sales qualified leads per month. These are measurable things that you can say whether or not you hit that goal at the end of each month, right? Because it's attached to a KPI. So that's how you make your goals measurable. The A in SMART stands for achievable. You want your goals to be challenging enough, but also realistic to achieve. So don't set yourself up for failure. And I've done that before. It's like, oh, I'm easily going to double my revenue next year. And then it was a bust and you feel like a failure and it sucks. So make sure your goals are achievable. I'm sure everybody has done that in the past. Anybody who has set a goal has probably reached for the stars in some aspect. But in a tip for doing this, to get around this, is to set up 2 or 3 scenarios for your goals. So for example, if you sit down with your accountant or your CFO, whoever helps you with the finances of your company, ask them to create 2 or 3 different scenarios for your goals. You could have, your absolute goal that you have to meet. You could have a medium and a reach for a stars goal. And then you can attach bonus structures to each of those goals if that's the way you go. I do this for my team and it definitely works and it motivates you. The R in SMART stands for relevant and realistic. So you want to make sure that your goals are aligned with the broader objective of your organization, right? So for example, for financial planners or for wealth management professionals, you don't want to push a product if you know like a partnership is about to end in a couple months, because that's not really part of the objective of the whole of your business. That's ending, so push something else that has more longevity towards it. You want to think about the bigger picture of your company and then set your goals so that you are reaching that bigger picture. A lot of us can see big shiny red balls. I am definitely guilty of this, where I get excited about certain things, but when I pay attention to those things and my attention's off of the main goal, it just distracts you and it wastes time. So you want to make sure that you're staying focused and relevant and realistic. And finally, the T in SMART stands for time sensitive or time bound. So your goals have to have a time frame or some sort of deadline. Otherwise, how do you know if you reach them, right? So for an example, in the first quarter, you want to onboard 4 new clients. right? Or you want to hire 2 new employees. So that's a good way of saying, okay, at the end of the first quarter, did this happen? Yes or no? So you can indicate whether or not you reach those goals. So definitely adding deadlines to your goals is a very, very good idea. Can everyone put thumbs up if they are ready to start reviewing 2023 and that you're still with me and that you understand the SMART? If you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. But in the chat, if everyone's ready, give me a thumbs up. Awesome. I got 3 so far. Everyone's good. All right, so let's move on to your year in review. So if you want to take your pad of paper or your book or whatever you're going to be jotting this stuff down, I want you to start reviewing and reflecting on 2023. So first of all, I want you to jot down what were your goals in 2023? And then we're going to talk about whether you hit or missed your goals in 2023. So at least write 3 of them down. If you have time to write more of them down as well, but leave some space under each goal. And then I want you to have make space for some room so that you can write whether or not you hit or missed that goal. And then why did you hit or miss your goals? We all have a lot of circumstances that arise in our years and in our weeks and months and quarters that pop up that can really stop a goal from being achieved. It could be changing direction in your company. Last year for me was a big restructure for my company, and therefore we missed our goals. But I know why we missed our goals, because all of our time was dedicated to operations and restructuring it. So you probably have reasons why you hit or missed your goals. If you hit your goals, excellent, but why did you hit them? Did you have the right systems in place? Was it a fluke? Maybe you got lucky, right? Maybe you had a really excellent referral or one huge client that came on that really boosted your revenue. And goals don't always have to be attached to revenue. It could be about your team. It could be about your operations, about a system that needed to be in place. So I'm going to give you 2 minutes and I want you to write these down. And then when you are done, I want you to write the number 1 in the chat when you are finished so that I know that we can carry on. Again, this will be recorded. All of you will have access to this. I will send it out after the webinar, and you will be able to watch it if you don't have enough time to jot everything down. Once you have done that, when you list your goals, you then say whether you hit or miss your goals. Why did you hit or miss your goals? And what lesson, I want you to talk about what lessons you've learned. And I want you to tell me in the chat. So just really, really high level, doesn't have to be specific, but it could be, I need more lead generation. It could be my sales process needed to be improved, or because this is going to help you create the plan for 2024, right? You want to make sure that you're learning your lessons from the previous year and applying that to help you reach your goals in the next year. So that's why I want you to write down, what lessons did you learn? For me, it was that systems were not in place. So if I had an employee that was out, another employee could not necessarily fill in the shoes because nothing was really written down. So we ended up creating workflows and systems in a project management system, and we invested in technology, and it was really a great year in 2023 for restructuring for Clarence. So it helped us a lot, and that was the lesson that we learned. We learned that we needed systems for every part of our business, whether it was onboarding a client, offboarding a client, even is as terrible as that sounds. Nobody wants to offboard a client, but it happens, right? Circumstances happen. And so offboarding a client, there needs to be a process. What do you do for that? Do you send them an email? Is there a list of things that you need to do that's associated with offboarding? Especially in wealth management, you guys have a lot of sensitive information on your clients. So what does that look like for you? You also have technology that you're dealing with and platforms. So, you need to end their membership or their subscription. So there is a lot that goes with offboarding or onboarding a client. So do you have a process for that? And that's part of our goals, at least last year. So if anyone can just give me some insight, lessons you learned, just blurt it out in the chat. Let me know. I would love to hear them. Lessons learned in 2023. And then we will move on to setting our goals for 2024. Processes are so important. They absolutely are, Duke. Yes. And then once you have the process, it's getting your employees to buy into those processes. We can write things down all day long. It's just like our goals. You can write them down, but it's the buy-in. We need to make sure people are committing to and taking ownership of. Lesson from 2023 goals: specific and SMART goals can really help me and my team stay on target and prioritize initiatives. Absolutely. And constant reminders. Consistency is the key. It really is. It's so easy to, and I have this on one of my slides, just to set and forget, right? It's like, even as Duke said, processes are important. You can write down the process, but then put it away. Maybe it's a document in a Google Drive and you just put it away and nobody ever reads it again. So do not set and forget. You want to make sure that you're constantly reminding yourself and being consistent. Okay, can I get thumbs up for those who are ready to move on? And remember, this is recorded so we can, awesome. Okay, awesome. Thanks, everybody. All right, so let's move on to goals for 2024. And so what I want you to do for when you're thinking about the goals that you're setting, and I'm sure because a lot of you registered for this workshop a few weeks ago, you probably have been thinking about what goals you're going to set. So I'm sure this is probably not the first moment you've actually thought of, oh, what goals should I set for 2024? So when you think back, I want you to work backwards. Think of what your annual goal at the end of December this year. Where do you want to be? Where do you see yourself as a company, as a professional, or as a business owner, or maybe if you're an owner of a financial firm? Where do you want to be? It could be a revenue goal. It could be a team goal, whatever. Of course, this is a marketing workshop, but you can think of anything. It doesn't have to be marketing related, but usually goals that are set are usually revenue driven, and then you need marketing in order to support that. So if you think, for example, let's think about $1 million in annual revenue. Let's just throw that out there. I know all of us are all over the place with revenue, but let's just, for the sake of math, let's use $1 million in revenue. I want you to write this down, your annual goal, and then I want you to write down your quarterly goals and your monthly goals. Okay. So that's what we're doing for this slide. Think about a couple of KPIs, right? So key performance indicators. It could be a dollar amount. It could be a team size. How many employees do you want working for you? It could be how many clients do you want? It could be maybe increasing the client lifetime value. Maybe you want to retain, or maybe it's a retention number. So think about those numbers, do an annual number, and then I want you to break it down into quarters and then months. For example, if your goal is $1 million in annual revenue, then that means you need to make $250,000 per quarter, which then further breaks it down to $83,000 per month. So when you think about that, how are you going to get there? Right? How are you going to obtain that revenue number? You need to think about your fee structure. So a lot of you have commission-based fees. Some of you, it's a percentage of investment. There's a whole bunch of different fee structures that all of you are collecting from your clients. So think about that. And then I want you to calculate your customer lifetime value. So all that is your, let's say they pay you monthly or quarterly or annually, whatever that frequency of payment may be. I then want you to multiply that by how many years or months or however long the client stays with you. Okay, so I had a client where the average lifetime of a client was 8 years. So if you think about the fee structure, you times that by 8 years. That's how you know what your customer lifetime value is. Okay, and that's how you're going to know how many clients you need in order to hit your revenue goals. All right. So, for example, you may need 20 clients to hit your revenue goal of 83,000 per month, but maybe right now you only have 12 clients, right? So then I need 8 clients by the end of this year in order to hit my goal. And so that's how I want you to work backwards and do the math. And this will give you the key performance indicator that you're looking for. And you may even want to go further. So if you know that it takes you 10 discovery calls to close one client, okay, so maybe you meet a prospect at networking, or maybe you have some sort of lead generating channel, and you have booked some discovery calls on your calendar, and you have 10 of them, and you talk to these potential clients maybe for half an hour each, and one of them turns into a client. Then that indicates that you need to get, if you need 2 new clients a month, then you need 20 discovery calls a month. So this is how I want you to work backwards. I want you to do the work, and this will become much more clear to you on how you are going to achieve these goals. Okay, so your client number, however, your goal of clients, maybe that's 10 new clients this year. That means you need to have 100 discovery calls to get 10 new clients, right? Then you got to break that down into the quarters, break that down into the months, and your goals that seem even like they're reaching for the stars actually start to feel like they're pretty attainable. So this is how I want you to work backwards. Come up with your annual KPI, work backwards, and then do the math so that you know exactly how many clients, what they're worth, how many you need, at what frequency, and how many leads do you need in order to get those to close those leads. Does everybody put in at least one goal that you're putting down for 2024? I know I'm talking a lot, but I'm trying to fill the space here. One goal in the chat for 2024. More clients. Okay, but how many more clients? How many more? It could be a monthly number, it could be an annual number. That's what I mean by attaching a KPI. That's good that you need more clients, but how many more do you actually need? And some people, especially in finance, sometimes you don't need many clients to hit that number, right? It depends on the quality of the client, right? So it's like, let's say a service-based company where you're collecting $200 a month versus collecting 5,000 a month. You're only going to need one client for the 5,000 and a whole lot more for the 200 a month, right? So everybody tell me in the chat, give me one goal that you are looking for to achieve in 2024. One goal in 2024. We have more clients. More revenue. Again, that's great, but how much more revenue, right? So that's what I'm saying. Remember the SMART goals. Be specific. Be very specific. Who else? Give me one goal that you have. At least 2 to 3 clients per month. Awesome. Post on LinkedIn at least one time a week to help build presence, hoping this will help with lead gen. Absolutely. Yes. You guys, social media is free to have a presence on. There are literally millions of people who are on social media. Utilize the platforms to your benefit. Absolutely. Ours is more related to improving the culture of the company, which we think will help our revenue. How do we measure that? That's such a great question. So improving culture, you can measure that with employee retention. So how long does an employee typically stay? We all know that it costs so much to onboard an employee and train them and invest the time and money into onboarding an employee. Surveys, Ali, yes, absolutely. Asking your employees what they think of the culture, right? So having a survey that maybe it could be open-ended or a drop-down menu, but measuring that against each other and just seeing all of you could have them rating on a scale of 1 to 10, each section of your company. So those are two ideas, but yeah, I agree that culture absolutely will help with revenue. Very true. Awesome. Okay, are we good to move on? We're going to talk about how we're going to get to our goals. So just give me thumbs up in the chat. I don't want to move on too quickly. So I hope each of you have at least a list of like 3 goals. Thank you everybody for the thumbs up. At least a list of 3 goals. And then we're going to talk about how we're going to reach those goals, right? Because it's so easy to set a goal and then hope, like I said, what I used to do. It's like, cross my fingers that in a year from now, I'm going to hit it. Well, how are you supposed to hit it with no plan? And we're going to talk about that now. So how does a successful firm or company do it, right? And the successful ones all have strategy. All of them do. And usually they focus on 3 different things, okay? Landing clients. Once you land the client, you have to keep your clients, retain them. And with all the competition these days, that's not the easiest thing to do. And you have to deliver results because you can't retain your client unless you have results to deliver. And you also can't land a client without telling them what results to expect. So these 3 things are very, very important. So let's move on to talk about landing clients. And I love the fishing thing because it's like you have to fill your funnel and close your new clients. So filling your funnel is finding the fish. Where do they reside? Where do they hang out, right? Closing your clients is having the right bait on your fishing pole. Okay? So if you think about landing clients and the bait is your content, the bait is your offer, the bait is your messaging to attract the fish in that pool. So I really want you guys to wrap your brains around this. So the more detailed you can get in your description of your target market, the better you can create messaging to attract your target market. And that's how you're going to close the new clients. So you find them by attracting them or by finding where they hang out. You want to attract them with great messaging, then you got to close them, right? So this is how you really want to land clients. So how can you fill this funnel? So you're going to have the top of the funnel where your prospects just come to know you for the very first time. And then you nurture them as you get lower and lower in the funnel. And then hopefully you convert them into clients at the bottom of your funnel. So here are some examples of channels of marketing or techniques that you can use to fill your funnel. So one of the methods would be cold email outreach, right? This is something that you would do on a daily basis. You're hitting new people all the time. So you're building your list constantly. You're sending out messages, letting them know you exist, what you offer, and seeing if anybody bites. So you're casting your fishing rod into a pool of your target market and hoping that somebody says, you know what, I need you at this moment in time. Another way is consistent content. And what I mean by this are webinars. I do monthly webinars and I also do them for my clients because they work. They position you as an expert in your industry. They are excellent for publicity and for branding. You can repurpose the content of a webinar. Same with blogs. Okay, blogs are excellent for SEO, search engine optimization. How do people find you on the internet? Well, if you create content around the topics that are a buzz in the industry, then your content will come up because you're constantly creating new, good, relevant content around that topic. So Google will start to like you because it's like, oh, you're providing relevant content to the keywords that people are searching for. Social media, again, just like what Ali said, consistently post on your social media channels, okay, on your profiles, because this is going to help you get more coverage to your target audience. It's a free platform for you to advertise on, really. And organic, I know that publicity organic marketing takes a lot longer, but it's also a little bit more meaningful, right? And so if you can really post consistently on social media, along with blogs, you can create videos and your webinars. You might want to do a podcast. Do this on a monthly basis. So the cold email outreach would be a daily thing. Consistent content would be weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly thing. And if you can have different modes, then you're pushing out a piece of content more than once a month or more than once, because you're doing multiple channels of or modes of content, let's say. And then finally, on a quarterly basis, you should be attending live events, like getting yourself speaking opportunities, attending conferences, tabling at conferences or exhibiting there, maybe roundtable discussions. You can, be an expert on the panel, summits. And so, when you think about this, it's like, oh, well, what kind of conferences should I go to? Let's say you're a financial planner or wealth management. Think about the jobs that you normally deal with, the job titles that your clients usually have. For example, some only deal with doctors or healthcare providers. Some only deal with teachers or educators. So go to conferences like that and provide your expertise in financial management, something like that. So you can be a speaker teaching them how to manage their money or to manage their 401ks or their education funds, 529s for the kids, whatever that may be. And then I want you to, and this will position yourself as an expert in your industry, just like a webinar would. And then they're like, hey, when I need help, I remember talking to this, or I remember watching a presentation from whoever this may be. And you will get clients from that. So if you're doing a daily thing, a weekly or bi-weekly thing, and a quarterly thing, then you are going to be able to land clients by filling your funnel. Does anyone have any questions? If you have questions, put it in the chat. If you're good with if this all makes sense to you, give me a thumbs up. How do you measure relationship building with clients or know that your team really understands the importance of it? So that's a really good question. I'm a fan of, and Ali even put this there, surveys. So you could measure, really good question, because a lot of things are so subjective, and attaching a KPI to something like that, I feel like surveys would help you figure that one out, and your team really understand the importance of it. I think with the team, having an incentive or motivation with your team for retention of clients will help motivate them to really deliver really great results and be relationship building with a client. So if you attach maybe a quarterly bonus or an annual bonus for retention of clients, if clients stay with you and they continue to pay money to you, they're usually happy, right? There's always competitors around to move to. So I feel like retention of clients would probably be that KPI, but really good question. All right, so let's move on to retaining clients, okay? So why do clients leave us? So last year we had issues with retention. And I read an entire book. I read multiple books, but this one entire book from Josh Nelson about retaining clients. It was for agencies. And there's four main reasons why clients leave us. Okay. And the main reason, the very number one reason that landed on top was perceived indifference. And I like the analogy with if you're sitting in a lecture hall in college and you're in a big university college with 500 people in a class, you are just a number. You're all sitting there listening to a lecture from one professor, and you are just a number, as opposed to a small community college where maybe there's 30 people in your class and your professor knows your name. You show up in class, right? In the 500 person class, you could skip and he wouldn't know the difference. But in the 30 person class, your professor knows whether you're there or not, right? And so perceived indifference, I want you to think as business owners when you're teaching or when you're dealing with your clients who are the students in the analogy. I want you to think about how you make them feel. Do you make them feel like they're just a number? Do they feel special when you communicate with them? Are you constantly telling them what you're doing? Do you send them gifts? So these little things are details that are very important, and that's what perceived indifference is. It's them not feeling special to you. The next thing is lack of communication, and this is really easy to happen because even I know this with my own financial planner. He'll text me and try to get me on the phone, and I'm just so freaking busy. So it's just like, yeah, let's do it next week, or you put it off easily. For me, with my clients, we have monthly reporting calls, and sometimes they don't show up for them because they're really busy. Communication is such a huge piece of client onboarding and retention. Absolutely, Ellie. It very much is. And that's where you can fall short. That's when you're landing clients, but you're not retaining them, you need to think about how to retain them. And that is a huge part of meeting your goals, because if one's coming in the door and one's going out the door just as quick, you're not moving anywhere. You're on a treadmill. So lack of communication is a huge thing. And what my clients would do is they wouldn't show up to the reporting calls. So then it would be 2 months that would pass between our communication. So, and if they didn't show up to that next one, then it's 3 months that are passed. So what do you do in that case? So I would say create Loom videos. Create Loom videos so that they see at least an email in their inbox, and they can hear your voice talking, and they know that you're excited about them being your client and what you're going to do next for them. The next thing on the list is not delivering results. So you're going to lose clients if you're not delivering results, obviously. So make sure your operations are on point. Make sure you're delivering what you said that you're going to deliver, and under promise and over deliver. Okay. And no plan for the future is the next thing. So if you are not seeding the future, then you're going to lose clients because they want to know what you're doing for them. Why are you, what's your next step? And especially when markets are crashed for financial planners, like, what do you do? Just show them that you're making an effort and that you acknowledge that the markets are low, but we're doing X, Y, Z to make sure that, we're moving your money around. We're doing whatever we can to alleviate the pain. So these are the 4 things why clients leave us. Duke made a comment. You need to be aware of what type of communication is needed with each customer. Some like more, some like less. Yeah, definitely. I agree, Duke. You have to make sure that, and that's where relationship building comes in. So the more you know your client, the more you know their communication style. You're absolutely right. Some of them like constant text messages, or maybe Google Chat, or maybe they want Loom videos, or maybe I have a client who he's my oldest client, longest client. We've had them for 4 years. They always want to be on the phone. They don't want a Zoom meeting. They want a phone call. And that is the way that they communicate. So very, very good points there on the chat. Thank you, everybody. So let's see what we can do to retain clients. When we think about why we lose them, how can you turn around and answer all of those 4 reasons and challenge them so that doesn't happen in your firm or your business? So to get over perceived indifference, how do you make them feel special? We will send our clients an onboarding gift, for example, birthday notes, thank you cards, maybe a gift during the holidays, or even at least just a little card or a note. Do anything you can to let them know that you appreciate them. Appreciation and gratitude is a huge thing today, and I feel like it's missed for a lot of businesses. So the more you can go the extra mile, it really doesn't cost a lot. It doesn't. And if you're collecting X amount of dollars from them, just think about taking a fraction of that and giving it back. And they really, really appreciate that. So alleviate perceived indifference by doing those things. Lack of communication. I want you to check in consistently and make sure your entire team is on board with this and they understand what that means. It could mean a weekly text message. Hey, how's everything going? Has anything in life changed for you? Especially for financial planners. Deaths happen, births happen, marriages, divorces, kids going to college, people retiring. Life changes all the time. So making sure that you're checking in with them is a really big deal. If you have monthly meetings, that's excellent, and put something reoccurring on the calendar so that it just automatically pops up. And then you don't have to worry about creating manually appointments with all of your customers each month. And if you can't get them together, if you can't get together with them, obviously, if you can meet face to face, that's even better. Take them out for a coffee or a dinner or a lunch or something. Face to face is awesome because you're even building that relationship even stronger. And if you cannot do this, then create a Loom video so they know that you are working for them, that you are concerned about them, that you are checking in, that you have reports to show them or information to share with them. So constantly check in. The next thing is not delivering results. So for example, if markets are low, right? Tell them what you are doing to try to make up for it. Okay. So obviously, sometimes, same with marketing. Sometimes Google will change an algorithm and boom, the website traffic just crashes. And you're like, what just happened now? And you think that things are going well and boom. And so you want to make sure that you're educating your client, telling them that you're doing everything you can to make up for the crash or whatever happened from a results standpoint. And also training your team. Train your team to deliver good results. And then seeding the future, right? So when you think about what's next, let them know what are you going to what have you been brainstorming about for them. What different products or services can you offer them in the future? Or maybe you're like, in a year from now we may want to switch from this to that. These are all very important things that you can do for your clients to seed the future. Does anyone have any questions? Give me a thumbs up if you're good, if you're still with me. We have a client retention budget. The birthday notes with a Starbucks gift card is very popular with clients. That's awesome. I know if I received that from someone I was doing business with, I would absolutely love it. You know what? I had a recruiter help me with one of my employees, and he's in Europe, and he sent us a beautiful cookbook from Europe and paprika from, I don't know if it was Hungary or somewhere in Eastern Europe. It was just such a lovely little package. It probably didn't cost them a lot, but I was just so grateful when I received that in the mail. So that's absolutely right, Duke. Like anything that you can do that will just be like, wow, like they actually care, and a little goes a long way. And think about your employees too. Do these things for your employees because your employees need to know that they're appreciated too. If they feel appreciated, they're going to treat your clients better. And in the end, this is going to mean more revenue for you. So it's sort of like a chain, right? Everyone likes surprises and to feel special. Absolutely. Yes, everybody does like surprises. I agree. I love them. I know some people don't like surprises, but when it comes to business or being a client and receiving a gift, it definitely does. So I'm also a big fan of edible arrangements. I love receiving them and I love giving them. So that's another good gift idea to make a client feel special. So let's go on and talk about delivering results. So this is tailored around financial firms, but this really pertains to any type of business. So how can you deliver great results? You need to have an experienced, educated team, obviously, right? Especially you need certified financial planners on your team if that's what you do. So you have to make sure that your team is educated in whichever industry that you are serving. You want to provide customized financial plans for your clients. Obviously, not one size fits all in finance. So you have to make sure you know your client well in order to deliver great results for them. You also want to stay informed on the markets and current events. There's always something going on in the world that affects our markets. So you want to make sure that you are staying informed and educating yourself constantly. You also want to be transparent with communication with your clients, right? You want to make sure that you have that open line of communication. If they're text message people versus email people versus phone call people, or maybe a Google Meet or Zoom, make sure that you know that about your client and that you communicate with them through those channels. Know your clients really well. Like I said earlier, the better you know your clients, the better you can deliver results for them. If you don't know your clients, then you will have no idea what they need. Be tech savvy. Everybody appreciates a good app. If it works and if it makes their lives easier, be tech savvy. That might mean having a portal with dashboards on whatever someone's financial state may look like or their investments. It could be an app on your phone. So make sure that you are utilizing technology to make your lives easier and to deliver great results to your clients. It'll probably save you time and money in the end. Be prepared for a crash. The market will crash. What goes up must come down. So just be prepared for that. What are you going to talk to your clients about? How are you going to ease the pain for them? Obviously, be very ethical, especially in finance. It's not your best interest, it's your client's best interest. And not only in finance, in every single industry, make sure you are doing what's right for the client. And finally, team collaboration. If you are not working together as a team to grow and scale your firm or your business, then it's going to be very, very difficult for you. So make sure your team is aligned. You're all very well trained. There's transparency with goals and accountability with how you're going to reach those goals. So just make sure that if you have all of these boxes checked off in your company, then you will be able to deliver great results. Let me know if anybody has any questions in the chat. I'm going to keep going because we have 10 minutes left. So in 2024, when I'm constantly educating myself with the big digital marketers in the world, the thing that is going to sell in 2024 when you're thinking about marketing and attracting new clients is the word authenticity. Okay. And what I mean by authenticity and how can you be more authentic is be yourself in your marketing, right? Every brand has a personality, and think about what your brand is like. And remember that people want to do business with people. People do not want to do business with businesses. They want to do business with people. And every business has people creating the business. So if you can make your business or yourself relatable to your prospects, they're more likely to do business with you. So I want you to be yourself. I want you to be honest. Reveal your failures and your lessons learned. Nobody lives their life in a straight line. Nobody has a goal when they are born. I want to hit here, and all the sequence of events that occurs is exactly what expected. Nobody on earth goes through that. We are twisting and turning. We're changing our goals. We're changing our direction. We change jobs and careers, and things change. So share that with people, share your experiences, share where you failed and what lessons you learned from it. Be genuine, be relatable. Today I told you about my dog dying. That's a vulnerable moment for me. And anybody with a pet will understand how painful that can be. Even though it sounds like it's not a big deal, it was in my life at that time. So you may think of me the next time you pet your dog. It's like you might hug your dog tonight or your cat or whatever pets you may have just because I told that story, right? So that's how you can be more relatable. And tell your story. Put that as part of your marketing. There are so many amazing marketers on social media that I follow, and I don't spend much time on it. But the ones that capture my attention are always vulnerable stories. So keep that in mind when you are when you're marketing yourself. If you're authentic, that can also help you and your brand stay consistent. Yes, absolutely. It's almost like a rule to follow. Just be authentic and your brand will kind of build from that. So instead of you like making things up and trying to have themes on things, just be authentic and that is your brand. And it's easier to be consistent that way. So remember that authenticity is not easy at all. A lot of people have difficulties being vulnerable, and I feel like authenticity comes with vulnerability. But it really does pay off with brand loyalty and long-term success. Building trust only happens when people can relate to you and know you care. It absolutely. And people only invest in brands that they trust. So how can they trust you if your personality is not coming out through your brand? So that is absolutely true. So here are things that will help you achieve your goals. Goals need to be written down and visible. I don't even know if you can see, but I have a whiteboard back there by my window back there. It's very hard to see because it's small. That is where all of my goals are listed. And on a monthly basis, I measure whether or not I hit it. And then I figure out why. Why did I not hit it this year or this month? Or excellent, celebrate it if you do. Take ownership and accountability. Okay, so make sure that everybody on your team knows what they need to be doing in order to reach the goal. Take ownership and hold them accountable. Hold yourself accountable. Break down your goals. Remember at the beginning, it's like, okay, create your annual goal, but then break it down into quarters, months, and even weeks if you can. And then it's a lot more doable. Align with the team. You want alignment with your team. If your team is not moving in the same direction you are going with, you're never going to meet your goals. So make sure you are all aligned and constantly communicating together. Feedback and evaluation. Evaluate your progress. So instead of waiting until 2025 to look back, hey, did we hit our goals? I want you to do this every month. And at the end of January, say, this was our goal. Did we meet our goal? Yes or no? If you didn't, what can we do to meet our goal next month? Right? So then it's not too late at the end of the year. You can pivot the ship and you can get closer to your goals. Motivate your employees and yourself. Give yourselves rewards. If you hit a goal, what's going to happen? It could be a day off. It could be a bonus. It could be, whatever that means to you. It could be a little gift. So make sure you're motivating yourself and your employees, and reporting kind of goes with that feedback and evaluation. Make sure you are analyzing what you're doing. If you're doing email marketing, analyze your emails, open rates, click rates. If it's your website that's, important to you, you want to make sure, what's our traffic like this month? What are our bounce rates? All that kind of stuff. And then making sure that with reporting, you're doing it on a consistent basis. So don't just, again, wait till the end of the year. Have dashboards set up so that every month it's easy to fill them in and easy for you to have a team meeting and everybody go over the progress. Things that will block you from achieving your goals. Lack of alignment and vision with your mission. If your goals aren't headed towards the direction of your entire company goals, then it's going to be a bust. Unrealistic expectations. So if you're reaching for the stars, make sure that you have a good plan to get there. the next one, obviously, having no plan. It's easy to set a goal, but how are you going to get there? So have a simplistic plan in place. If you're not monitoring your progress, you're not going to hit your goals. Inflexibility, obviously, life changes, business changes. So you need to be adaptable to what's going on in the market, and then you can pivot the ship. Lack of motivation. Obviously, if you are not motivated and you have no reason to hit your goals, you're not going to do it. Poor communication. So make sure you're communicating with your team. And then finally, setting and forgetting. So that's why I want you to post your goals visually on your desk, on the wall, on a whiteboard. Always have them visible to you. So a recap, we reviewed 2023. We set some goals and KPIs for 2024. We talked about creating a plan to achieve those goals. If you didn't get it all done, you can do it at the end, or you can do it after this session. We talked about authenticity. What is going to work for 2024? So I know we're kind of rushing through this, but if this is all too much work for you and you don't have the time to do this yourself, you really don't need to. If you are looking for those lead generating channels, we do offer webinar services and also cold email outreach. I have a partner that does it. He does it for us. We get almost 20 calls a month, discovery calls. So if you want to have a discussion on that, we definitely can. This is a webinar checklist. If you want to do a webinar by yourself and you don't need help, if you would like this, please send me an email and I will send this PDF to you. And again, we do offer the cold email outreach. And then this is our webinar B. So if you do need help with your webinars, we are giving 20% off for all of the attendees that came today. And that's if you sign up before February 2024. And we really just take care of all the promotions and logistics for the webinar. And all you do is show up on the day of and present. And most of our clients do get at least a client per webinar. Our next webinar is talking about the cold email outreach and how effective it can be. So our next webinar will be on February 28th at 10 a.m. Eastern time, how to book 10 to 20 prospect meetings a month using cold email outreach. And we will discuss that with my partner, the expert Abdel Shafiq. So it will be an excellent webinar. We'll kind of educate you on cold email outreach, what is working, what doesn't. And let me see, what's the best email to use for the webinar checklist? That is right here. So good question, Allie. My email is dhaluk@clarenceservices.com. I am also going to release the offers for cold email outreach, the 20% off, as well as the webinar B. So all you have to do is click, if you see in the chat, they should have come up. You just have to book a discovery call with me. We'll talk about your current marketing situation, what you need for lead generation, and we'll go from there. If anyone has questions, I know we kind of went long. Please let me know in the chat if you have any questions. And you're welcome, Mary. Thank you so much for attending. I appreciate all of you. I hope you have a fantastic year and these goals actually work. Let me see. Regarding social media, you mentioned Google. Could you do a seminar on how Google actually works for tracking your content algorithms? I am not the expert with algorithms, but certainly tracking your content, like Google Analytics, that's a really good topic. I could definitely, you're welcome. Thank you, everyone. I can definitely think about putting together a webinar for that topic. So thank you for the suggestion. Anyone have any other questions? I don't mind staying on a couple minutes extra, just to answer some more questions. Thank you so much again for everyone staying till the end. Everybody stayed till the end. So I'm really grateful for that. Thank you, Allie. Excellent. So I'll stay on just for a couple minutes to see as you guys leave, just to see if anyone has questions, and we will see you for the next webinar. I will send out links to everybody who would like, thanks Adolfo, who would like to register. So for the next webinar. So you will get a link in email. You will also receive the recording to this webinar automatically. All right, it looks like that is the end. I appreciate everyone for being here, and we will see you next time. Thanks, everyone.